favorite plants of all time is the Andromeda or Pieris Japonica. And the thing I like about them is the absolute gorgeous blooms. It blooms very, very early in the spring and has a white pendulous bloom that comes out on it. Then after the plant is done blooming, it comes out with this fiery red foliage. It's blooming now, some of the varieties, but most of the varieties are going to be starting to kind of go downhill, and then it'll start popping out with this new red foliage, which to me is almost more beautiful than the absolute blooms. These plants will get about maybe 5 to 6 foot tall and about the same width. So it gets to be a pretty good sized plant. It likes to have like morning sun, or does maybe some part afternoon shade. It doesn't like that real hot afternoon sun. Another thing that I find about this plant here is it absolutely does not like a lot of water. If it's in a wet spot, it is just not going to make it. So I plant mine in kind of an area that is a little bit on the dry side. It has to be a fairly well-drained soil. And really the only time I really do much watering on these things is in maybe a drought period in the summer. If I have a tendency to fall in love with this thing and give it a little too much water, it's usually not going to make it. So it's almost best to abuse it unless you're into like a hot August where you haven't had rain in 2 or 3 weeks. This particular variety is called Mountain Fire, and as you can see, the new growth on this thing comes out like a fiery red mountain. And this is maybe one of my favorite varieties. This variety over here, this is called Caventine. Caventine is going to be more of a 2 foot by 2 foot size plant. It doesn't have the new fiery growth on the thing, but it's more of a mounding type of plant. The other thing that I like about these plants is in the fall it gets a beautiful seed pod, and so it adds interest to my garden basically like 9 or 10 months of the year. So like I said, these are two maybe of my favorite of all time plants that I think everybody should have something in your garden. Matches up real well with azaleas, rhododendrons, just because it is a little bit on the acidic side that it likes. Come to Meadows Farms. We have all sorts of these plants. We have other varieties that have a pink bloom on it, and it comes out with a pink bud, and then it turns into kind of a pink bloom. So different sizes, different shapes. Great plants though.